Greetings, good people. Welcome back to the channel. So, Terica Ellis has finally been sentenced, and she will be serving 3 years in prison for her involvement in Tim Norman's plot to take the life of his nephew. All right. So, for those of you who are unaware, Welcome to Sweetie Pies was a reality TV show that was on the OWN network. Okay. It showcased Robbie Montgomery, her restaurant, Sweetie Pies. Her son was involved. Her grandson was involved. Her nephew, her family was involved. Well, Miss Robbie's son, Tim Norman, okay, who has yet to be sentenced, he will be sentenced in March, decided to plot on his only nephew. Okay, that's Andre Montgomery, who is the grandson of Miss Robbie Montgomery. All right, Andre's life was tragically taken, and Tim was basically behind it. All right, so all of these people that you see on the screen, they were involved. Right, Travell Hill, who was the one who actually committed the crime, he confessed. They all pled guilty except for Tim, and he was sentenced to 32 years. Terica Ellis, she was sentenced to 3 years. She was recently sentenced. And the insurance guy, Wael Yagnam, he was sentenced to 3 years. Again, Tim, his sentencing is pending. All right. So what I want to do is get into this article. All right. And this is according to the United States Attorney's Office, Eastern District of Missouri, their official website. And it reads, woman sentenced to 3 years in prison for aiding St. Louis reality show stars M-word plot. All right. So Terica Tanisha Ellis, she helped James Timothy Norman, who appeared on the reality show Welcome to Sweetie Pies, locate his nephew Andre Montgomery Jr., who also appeared on the show. Tim Norman then passed his nephew's location to another man who fatally took Andre's life. Okay. And this took place in 2016, and this was in St. Louis, right? So Ellis, who is now 39, she pleaded guilty back in July to a charge of conspiracy to commit M-word for hire. The exotic dancer from Memphis, Tennessee, she admitted that she was paid $10,000 to locate Andre and lure him outside before the incident took place. All right. Norman, 43, he was convicted by a jury in the U.S. District Court in St. Louis in September of conspiracy to commit M-word for hire, and conspiracy to commit mail and wire fraud. So he is scheduled to be sentenced March 2nd, and he's facing a mandatory sentence of life in prison. Rightfully so. All right. Norman, he basically took out a life insurance policy worth $450,000 on Andre, then arranged for Andre's life to be taken. Now, this is according to testimony and evidence at the trial. So before announcing the sentence Tuesday, Judge Ross said that without what he called, quote unquote, incredible effort by investigators, this could easily have been just another unresolved case. Okay, he also recognized Ellis's testimony, that's Terica's testimony against Tim Norman at the trial, and said that, Tim would more than likely have succeeded in taking Andre's life, whether Terica helped out or not, which I agree with, because I have been talking about and covering this situation since Tim was first arrested, all right, and throughout the trial. So Travell Hill, he's the one that actually pulled the trigger. He was sentenced back in October to 32 years in prison. He pleaded guilty to one count of conspiracy to commit M-word for hire and one count of M-word for hire, and testified at Tim Norman's trial. Wael Yagnam, that's the insurance guy, that's his Tim's former insurance agent. He was sentenced in November to 3 years in prison on one count of conspiracy to commit mail and wire fraud. Yagnam, 44, admitted conspiring with Tim to fraudulently obtain a life insurance policy on Andre and then helping Tim file a claim after Montgomery's life was taken. Just terrible. The case was investigated by St. Louis Metro Police Department and the FBI, etc., etc. So again, this article that I read is from the U.S. Attorney's Office, Eastern District of Missouri's official website. All right. I think that Tim Norman definitely should serve life in jail. I think this is despicable. It's absolutely disgusting. And I'm really shocked that Terica Ellis only got 3 years, honestly. I was expecting her to get more. But she pled guilty, and she said that she had no idea that Andre, his life was going to be taken. She said that she was just paid to locate Andre because she was told by Tim that Andre, she's looking for him, because Tim kind of painted the picture that Andre was the one who robbed his grandmother's home, because Miss Robbie's home was broken into and items along with money was stolen out of her home, and Tim was trying to make it seem as though his nephew was the one that did it. Now, after the trial, Andre's family, his mother and his siblings, along with some other family members, were on the steps of the courthouse, and they said some interesting things. They talked about how Miss Robbie was very mean to Andre, and she was under the impression that he robbed her as well, broke into her house, and he had something to do with it, because maybe Tim probably, brainwashed her to think so. Either way, justice has been served. They've all of them are guilty. They pled guilty. Tim didn't. And I'm curious to see how much time Tim is going to be sentenced to. Tim has been in and out of jail damn near his whole life. His longest stint in prison was for armed robbery. And it's just, his mother had to take him to court because of he was trying to open up businesses in her name and all types of fraudulent foolishness. So this was a very intense case to cover. And I remember going back to the first time that I reported, it was a Page 6 article that I was reading, and I saw that Tim was arrested and accused of, orchestrating the taking of the life of his nephew. And I remember reading the article and posting the video, and I was shaking, mispronouncing words. I was so floored. And I was just like, yo, this guy is a maniac, man. He really is crazy. Well, listen, the prosecution, they did what they were supposed to do, and everybody dimed him out. So, I mean, pretty much he claims that he didn't do it and he had nothing to do with it. His defense was pretty weak. It was a circus. It was just a mess. So I'm very glad that everybody has been found guilty, and I'm really waiting to see what how Tim's sentencing is going to go. I know his attorney was trying to appeal the conviction. If he got money to waste, then by all means, but you guilty as sin, Tim, and you really are a maniac. And good luck. That's all I can say. All right, y'all. Just a quick update for those who are unaware. For those who are already aware and you watched to the very end, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate your view. So that's all I got. Ain't got no more. I love you for watching. As always, until next time, peace.